everybody, I'm Allie and this is Sedona, and today I'm going to walk you through what I would call a basic warm-up exercise that moves. All the exercises that I'm going to do are how I would warm up a horse and go kind of through their paces. So number one, we're going to move the head, the neck, and that's just going to be lateral flexation. So I want to go ahead and reach forward, ask her to flex, release, reach forward, ask her to flex, release. So that is lateral flexation. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask her to back up. My hands are going to be low. I'm going to back with just my seat. So back with my seat and add a little bit of motion with my legs if I need to. And she's backing. Now I'm going to add a little bit of rein until she gives her head. Come on, back, 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 back. So now, until she gives me her head, I'm going to keep her backing, back, 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 back. Come on. Because right now she's bracing against it, and I want her to, she gave me her nose just a little bit. So what I'm doing is, number one, backing off the seat. So once she's got my back off the seat, so whoa, squeeze, make the seat. And so I ask her to back, ask her to back. She's backing, but her nose is wedged. So I push my hands forward by moving out, and then I bring to my knees until she gives me her head, and then I'm going to release. So this is use. There we go. Her head and release. So this is backing up. So okay, our first exercises have moved the head and the neck, and as well as gotten the horse to back. Our next exercise that we're going to do is basically called spiral down to a one rein stop. Now, our direct rein is on the inside of our circle. Our indirect rein is on the outside of the circle. Indirect rein is when I lay that rein across the horse's neck and we start to get a little bit of a spiral. I'm also using button number 2. So I'm going to make the cue a little bit higher so you can see it. So it's button number 2 right here. That would be the cue, but I'm actually trying not to use my heel. I'm actually trying to use the inside of my leg. So direct rein on the indirect rein, and then reach up, ask the horse to give until she stops. Okay? So it was indirect rein to direct rein. What you do on one side, you do on the other. So again, we're going to spiral down. We're going to use multiple cues. We're going to use button number 2, which is actually right here behind the girth. We're going to ask her to spiral down. Point her nose in, point her nose in. At least make 1 to 2 circles. Reach up all the way to the nose. There we go. She gives and release. That's a spiral down to a one rein stop. Now that we've gone through, we want to work on her forehand. Now our cues for moving the forehand, which is we want her inside foot to go out and her outside foot to actually cross over. Now we're going to use indirect rein on the outside, inside just a little bit of direction, and we're going to add our leg cue, which is going to be in front of the girth, which is going to be button number 1. So we're going to be kind of bumping her with button number 1. So again, we're going to go back to our circle. So our first circle was just using button number 2, but in order to engage the hindquarters, which means we have to get her to kind of rock back a little bit in order to be able to step off, we have to stop forward motion. So we sit up, we block forward motion, and add button number 1 until we get a step to the side. So again, I'm just using a side pull. You can do this with a, you wouldn't want to do this with a curb bit. This would be an exercise you would want to use a snaffle bit. But like I said, I don't have any problem using a side pull with this. Again, as I'm walking forward, I stop forward motion, add button number 1, and a little bit of indirect rein. Now I'm pulling back on my indirect rein to keep her from going forward. So again, and I'm doing it a little high so you can see it. So again, indirect rein, indirect rein until I get a step. Come on, one more step. Oops. Well, she didn't quite rock back, but so I'm not going to stop on that one. What you want to do is just get her to move that inside rein, inside leg. She's going to step towards me. I can look down. Come on, move. There, a little bit. So the more we do it, the more steps we get, and what we do on one side, we do on the other. Remember, walk your circle and keep her walking. So as soon as I get around here to the front, I'm going to button number 1, stop inside. There we go. And gradually get 1 to 2 steps. I'd like to get her to do a complete turnaround, but that's why we work with that every time. So that was moving the forehand or button number 1, the hindquarters. Now, the hindquarters are going to be button number 3. That is going to be back towards your back cinch. Now you want a cue right here, and remember the hind end goes away from where the nose goes. So you want to tilt the horse's nose just so you see the corner of the eye and the corner of the nose. You don't want their nose all the way over here because that means stop. So you don't want the horse's nose completely tucked because that always means stop. But we do want a little bit of a bend. So you stop motion with that outside. Button number 3, button number 3. Try to keep the nose in one place. And you want the crossover with the hindquarters. So again, I'm going to walk out. Put her nose in the center. And button number 3, open the door. Come on. And there we go. Just get her to disengage those hindquarters. So we've moved all the body parts, and that's kind of a good warm-up, just moving all the body parts just to get them nice and limber. So thank you so much for joining us on today's lesson. And if you enjoyed the lesson, give us a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you want to see more, check out our playlist.